Hello, everybody. You are welcome to the Stakeholders Engagement Meeting for the proposed battery manufacturing project in Ukwa West local government area of Abia State, Limited. This event is hosted by Richflood, a leading continental provider of social, environmental, and social due diligence services for investments in Africa. Richflood works closely with investors and leaders in the public and private sector of different economies in Africa, providing a range of services related to impact assessment of projects. Current activities and headquarters in Abuja, Nigeria, Richflood has established partnership in the United States and United Kingdom, as well as operational partnership in a few African countries, such as South Africa, Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo, and clients sourcing for funds from donors or international banks to meet up with international lenders' requirements. Before we proceed further in this meeting, I would like to make clarifications on a few items so we have maximum participation throughout this meeting. First, I would like to let you know that this meeting is being recorded and the recordings will be made available on the Richflood's YouTube channel so you can access it even after this meeting. Also, I would like you to know that all participants are in setup of listen-only mode, but when it is time for us to take contributions, each person that would like to speak would be unmuted so that we can hear from you. Lastly, I would request everyone to rename his or herself and add the name of the organization in brackets so that you can be properly identified. So you can just check through and rename yourself the way you want to be addressed. Thank you. The agenda for this meeting is going to, the agenda for this meeting is being displayed on the screen right now. But before I go any further, I would like to hand over to the Chief Operating Officer of Richflood International Limited for an introductory speech. Mr. Prince Ijoma, you are welcome to join us. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. You're welcome to this important meeting, Stakeholders Engagement Program for the proposed battery manufacturing project. Like Dr. Dola have said, Richflood International is an environmental and social governance consultant committed to helping individuals and organizations meet up with environmental compliance requirements in Nigeria. As part of regulatory requirements guiding developmental projects, an environmental impact assessment is to be carried out in accordance with EIA Act, Cap E12 LFN 2004. This act makes it mandatory for proponents of certain categories of developmental projects to carry out environmental impact assessment as a way of assessing the impact a project will have on the environment. Having said that, stakeholders engagement is one of the key activities carried out as part of the processes of undertaking the EIA for developmental projects, whereby all stakeholders converge to deliberate and share ideas on how they are impacted by the project. The input and suggestions from the various stakeholders will further guide in assessing the impacts of the proposed project and preferring measures to mitigate the likely impact and the project may have on the environment. I implore everyone to actively participate in the discussion and wish us a fruitful deliberation. I will want to hand over back to the moderator, Dr. Adeola, for the next phase of the program. Over to you, Dr. Adeola.
Thank you very much, Mr. Prince, for that brief introduction. As part of measures to ensure relevant stakeholders are carried along for the stakeholders' engagement, invitations were sent out to all impacted and interested public. So today we have on our roll call of attendees for this program, various stakeholders from the Federal Ministry of Environment, the State Ministry of Environment in Abia State, the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Ministry of Science and Technology, Ministry of Public Utilities and Water Supply, host communities, and NGOs. Right about now, I will hand over to Mr. Ojo Sunday, who will give us a recap of the previous stakeholders engagement program that was held at the project site. Over to you, Mr. Sunday.
Thank you, the moderator, and thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. It happens to be the first edition of the online stakeholder engagement program for this project. By way of introduction and by way of information, stakeholder engagement is a continuous process that is undertaken throughout the stages of project execution. And based on this, the first stakeholders engagement for the proposed battery manufacturing project was carried out physically on the 19th of August 2021 at the New Way facility, which is in Upper West local government area of Abia State, as well as at the host community areas, also at the Upper West local government area of Abia State. The meeting had in attendance about 30 participants, which cut across different ministries and different stakeholders, including the representatives of the Federal Ministry of Environment, the representative of the State Ministry of Environment, the people from the host communities, the proponents, and some other key stakeholders were present on the day. And the proposed project was disclosed to the various stakeholders, and the activities to be undertaken during the process were also disclosed to the stakeholders that were present. The project proponent, they have a robust corporate social responsibility commitment to the host communities. And as part of this commitment, New Way has revamped a borehole project in the community, and they have provided a power generating set for further powering of the borehole. The community expressed their happiness on the coming on board of this New Way battery manufacturing project, and they also promised to cooperate with the company and other stakeholders throughout the stages of the lifespan of the project. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us. I will now hand over to the moderator to take us further from here. Over to you, Dr. Adeola.
Information documents, which tends to give an highlight on the project description and so far the activities that have been carried out by New Way as part of this project. So as part of the introduction, an EIA, as we all know, is a process of evaluating the likely environmental impact of the project, considering the environmental, economic, and the human health impact that the project intends to emit into the environment. And as earlier said by our CEO, there is a particular law governing this process, which is mandatory for all proponents to carry out this activity, which is the EIA Act Cap E12 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004. And the project proponents for this project, battery manufacturing project, is New Way Power Technology, which is a privately owned company registered in Nigeria under the Corporate Affairs Commission. And New Way intends to build a fully automated battery laboratory, which will form part of the significant drive and even lead in the manufacturing of battery products as required by international standard. And the production scale of this project for the phase 1 is estimated at 900,000 pieces of batteries per year. And the location of this project is along Port Harcourt Aba Expressway, beside the International Convention Center in West local government area of Abia State. And the project is going to be situated on a 314,134 square meter plot of land within the Inner Galaxy Facility area. And the project site can be accessible both from Aba and Port Harcourt through the Port Harcourt Aba Expressway. And this is the map of Nigeria highlighting the location of Abia State. And this is also a map of Abia State highlighting Okwa West local government, which is a local government hosting this project. And several laws and framework in terms of legal and regulatory framework has been activated as part of ways to ensure that this project is carried out in a sustainable manner and the legal framework is applicable. And we have laws like the Environmental Impact Assessment, CAP, E12, Laws of the Federation 2004, also Factories Act, CAP 2004, Factories Noise Pollution Act, even the Forestry Law, Endangered Species Act, and the Abia State Basic Environmental Laws, and the International Finance Corporation Performance Standard and Social Environmental Sustainability will all be activated as a way of ensuring that this project is carried out in a sustainable manner. And the project description for this project, the project is the battery manufacturing project, which will involve plastic container and cover formation. That is the casing of the battery. Also have and the early stage of the process will involve the grid casting, lead oxide formation, the testing process, curing process, and the assembly of the section of the battery after the terminals, the positive and the negative terminals have been formulated to the battery storage area. And like I said earlier, the process is going to be a fully automated one control that will be controlled within the project area. And the first stage will involve the lead oxide process, which involves the lead ingots. And the lead ingot actually is what it is basic raw material, which is gotten from China. And it will be cut into pieces and granulated to form the lead oxide. And after the lead oxide has been produced, we now have the pastering of the lead oxide on the grid. So the lead paste is made up of a mixture of a lead powder, pure water, and the sulfuric acid in a closed automation pastry steering machine. And after the pastry, we now have the grid production, which involves heating the alloy, that is the impure lead, forming lead strips and cut into sheets. So after cutting this into sheets, this sheet will now be used in curing the grid that have been produced. And the grid and lead paster will be treated by automation continuous plating, as in terms of coating of the using a coating machine. And after that, will be dried under certain conditions of the temperature, which is 32 degrees Celsius for about 48 hours to form the plate. Then after the curing, there will now be assembling of this battery, which is this process will involve all the parts that are assembled into the battery casing. The battery casing is actually a plastic casing, which will also be manufactured within the facility. And the assembling will involve stacking the positive and negative plates and inserting it with a separator into this plastic casing. And after that, electrolytes, which is the sulfuric acid, will be poured into this casing and filled it up to a required amount and sealed So the electrolytes, which is sulfuric acid, will be what will now help in charging the battery. So after that stage, we now have the battery charging and discharging process. And this is subjected to this involves subjecting the battery to a high rate discharge test for a short duration. And the battery, after the battery has been charged, will now be recharged for certain backup hours before it's being sent to the store. So after it's been sent to the store, visual inspection will be done to properly ascertain the quality of the product being produced before it's been finally dispatched to be consumed by the populace. And this is a typical picture of a prototype of the battery that we produce within this facility. And also, as part of this project, they will likely they will perceive impact, especially the environmental impact that will be generated from these activities. And I would like to also include that this impact has already been envisaged and all adequate mitigation has been developed to ensure that the impact is reduced to the barest minimum and doesn't cause harm to the environment and the social, the people around the facility. So in terms of the solid waste produced by the battery manufacturing process will include waste grids, waste lead powder, waste lead paste, waste plates, waste packaging material, injection molding cut off, that is where the pieces of it that is cut off from the leads, and also household waste as well. So for the grid cutoff that will be generated in terms of in the process of grid cutting and punching, this will be collected and then remelted in a lead pan for the raw material and grid making process. So this the part of the raw materials in terms of the production that is generated in the production process are re-injected into the process and recycled to reduce the amount of solid waste that is generated. And in terms of the gaseous emission, which in terms of the least smoke from the casting of the expanded grid, so the least smoke that we generated from the expanding grid is produced in terms of project strip marking process and will be collected by a gas collecting hood and treated by a set of lead smoke purifier. So these gases will be channeled into a hood like a pipe and to be purified using lead smoke purifier. This lead smoke purifier contains water spray, which will help to douse this smoke instead of it being emitted in the environment, and then will be discharged by an exhaust fume. So the smoke, the emission of the gas from the process, the production process will be very minimal. And also the lead smoke that is thus produced by the assembly line will be collected by exhaust hood, like I said before, and purified by a cyclone dust collection and a filter cylinder dust collector. So a dust collector will actually be attached to the gas collection hood to ensure that all the lead smoke that we emitted will be collected and properly doused with the purifier, which is the water spray. And the effluent, which is the liquid part of the waste that we generated, will include equipment cleaning, the wastewater generated by the workshop ground washing, probably from washing of the work ground, the wastewater that will be generated. And this will be channeled, all of this will be channeled to a sewage treatment tank for precipitation and neutralization treatment. So it will be properly neutralized. And then also the treated water, treated compressive water will also be recycled as part of way of environmental protection in terms of the projects. So the domestic wastewater that will be used for plants afforestation in terms of trying to wet the ground and the plants that are being planted around the facility area. And the waste acid, which is also another waste that we generated from this process, we produce in the acid filling process. Remember, I talked about the electrolyte, which is the sulfuric acid, and will be collected by acid collecting tank and transferred to the sulfuric acid purification workshop. So it will actually be transferred to the workshop for a purification process. So the waste residue produced in the process of the sulfuric acid purification will be neutralized with industrial sodium hydroxide and used for paving of the road within the factory. So for the terms of reference of these studies, for the purpose of this EIS study, a one-season data gathering was proposed by the Federal Ministry of Environment, and the studies is still ongoing to assess the biophysical and socio-economic components of this project. And the several stakeholders were mapped and invited for this stakeholders engagement program right from the physical one, which include the Federal Ministry of Environment, the Ministry of Trade and Investment, Ministry of Poverty and Innovation, West local governments, the host community, which is the Umuagugu, Umuigwe, and Umachaka villages. All of them were invited for the stakeholders engagement. And the physical stakeholders engagement, like I mentioned earlier, was held on the 19th of August, 2021 at the New Way facility and the host community area. And this is the first online stakeholders engagement meeting for this project. And the second one, which is going to be the last one, will be held on the 28th of October, 2021. So we actually aligned 2 online stakeholders engagement meetings for this project. So I will hand over to my colleague to continue highlight the environmental studies that have been carried out for this project. Over to you, Mr.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Okeme. So to take us further, I will be highlighting the methodologies that are employed for the environmental studies. A multidisciplinary approach was employed in the acquisition of different environmental data, and then this was executed within the framework of the Federal Ministry of Environment procedural guidelines and the terms of reference, including some the acts and the legal framework were employed for the data gathering exercise for this project. And the data for the study were obtained through different methods. We employed the use of the desktop research. We also used field observation, sampling, and measurement of environmental components. And so the data that were gathered on the field were taken to the lab for the laboratory analysis in order to get the ecochemical parameters for each sample. Also for the socioeconomic component of the project of the EIS studies, public consultations, socioeconomic and health assessment, traffic assessment, and some other assessments were carried out. So to effectively characterize the project area, as my colleague has said, a comprehensive one-season data gathering, which has commenced, is a continuous process, is being carried out, and the field study that was studied involved the data acquisition on the physical, biological, and socioeconomic aspect of the environment, including the climate or meteorological data, the air quality and noise, the soil, the surface and groundwater, the biodiversity, and as well as the socioeconomic and health status of the communities. So for the soil studies, 15 soil samples were collected on site, 13 within the project area, and 2 within the host communities. And all soil samples were taken at 2 depth intervals. For the topsoil, the depth of 0 to 15 centimeter was collected, and for the subsoil, the depth of 15 to 30 centimeter was collected. So soil the soil samples that are taken have been transported to the laboratory, and the analysis is ongoing to determine the chemical and the microbiological parameters of the samples. And then for the air quality and noise studies, air quality management was carried out as well by holding the equipment at arm's length towards the direction of the prevailing wind at every sampling point. 15 air quality sample stations were established for the measurement of the air quality and noise and the meteorological parameters. And 13 within the host within the project area, and then 2 within the host community. And the parameters that were measured include the carbon monoxide, the hydrogen sulfide, the nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, the volatile organic compound, the suspended particulate matters, both 2.5 and 10. So also the meteorological conditions were also measured during the studies, which include the temperature, the wet bulb, the relative humidity, and some other meteorological conditions. Also, ambient noise levels were also measured in situ during the air quality and noise studies. So for the surface water studies, 3 surface water samples were collected at the upstream, the midstream, and the downstream along the river Uzozu, which is very close to the project site. And in situ parameters, in situ analysis was carried out for the surface water samples for some parameters that are short coding in nature. Such parameters include pH, dissolved oxygen, total dissolved solid, temperature, and some other parameters. So, and also the samples have also been transported to the laboratory, and analysis is ongoing to determine the physicochemical and the microbiological parameters of the surface water in that area. As well, and also the groundwater samples was also collected. Groundwater studies was also conducted. 4 groundwater samples were collected, 3 within the project facility area and 1 at the host community. So in situ analysis were carried out for each of the on each of the samples, and also the samples has also been transported to the laboratory for further analysis. Also, the biodiversity studies, the comprehensive biodiversity studies was carried out at the project area, in which the fauna conditions and the flora conditions of the area were examined, were comprehensively examined. And on the screen, you can see some of the flora species that were identified, on the site, and then as well as the sampling map that shows the locations where each of the biodiversity studies were carried out. So for the socioeconomic component of the EIA project, the primary and secondary sources of data were collected from different sources, and the host communities that were identified that were very close to the project area are Umuogogo and Umuige, as well as Umuacheke villages. For the socioeconomic and health and traffic assessment, different techniques were employed to gather the data. The techniques include the use of structured questionnaire, focus group discussion, in-depth interview, key informant interview, the direct observation, as well as the stakeholders engagement program that was done on site. And then part of the socioeconomic assessment is also this virtual online stakeholders engagement that is being carried out presently. And then purposive sampling technique have been adopted for sampling of respondent for administration of questionnaire in those community within the project area of influence. So this is, and on the screen is the pictures that shows when the socioeconomic assessment was being carried out on site, and then right to the screen is the map that shows the area of influence that captures the 3 communities, the 3 host communities that are within the project area. All right, so let me, before I conclude and hand over to the moderator, let me state some perceived impacts of the proposed project. My colleague has highlighted some of the impacts, so I will just highlight some of the positive impacts of the proposed project. The first thing is that the project will create job opportunities for people around the project site, both youth, the children, women groups, the men groups, and all categories of people will enjoy in terms of job opportunities. Also, the project will enhance the development of amenities and infrastructural facilities within the community. By virtue of this project, a lot of infrastructural facilities and some other social amenities is going to be provided for the community. Also, the project will lead to improvement of the economic status of the communities that are around the project site due to increased demand for local goods and services. You know, the virtue of this project being started at that place, there will be an increase in demand for different local goods and services, food, materials, and some other things. And the anticipated negative impacts, which include loss of biodiversity, dust generation, gaseous emissions, and some other negative impacts, we were also identified. But as part of this ongoing EIA studies, mitigation plans will be made to eliminate, and in case the negative impact cannot be completely eliminated, mitigation plans will be done to make sure that the impacts are reduced to as low as reasonably practicable. Also, cumulative impact also as part of the ongoing EIA studies, cumulative impact have been identified, and that this cumulative impact of this project will also mitigation plans and management plans will be provided so that they can be eliminated or to reduce them to as low as reasonably practicable. All right, so I will now hand over to the moderator to take it further. Over to you, moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ujo Sunday and Mr. Ukeme, for your presentations. We have listened to the background information on the project, and right about now, we would like to hear from, first, we are going to attempt to comment and questions from every stakeholder who is present here. But at this point, we would like to first hear from the representatives from the proponents, that's the Niue Power Technology Company Limited, to make further contribution to the discussion, or if there's any other updates as it relates to the project that they would like to let us know. Niue, can you hear me?
Okay, please, can I speak now?
Yes, please go ahead. You're welcome. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Boyega Olorunfemi. I'm the principal consultant at Varmax Global Resource Limited. Okay, to start my video. Okay, I think I'm somewhere outside. Is my video up? I don't know if you can. Okay, so my contribution will be more like in terms of question, and it's to also look at the place of runoffs when this project is established. So I understand that the waste, what the effluent is going to be channeled to where it's going to be also be treated, and then before it is reused. Are there also measures in place for check, maybe periodic check, to ensure that there are no leakages from these effluent channels? Thank you. I apologize for my background. There's some noise.
Okay, there's no problem at all. Your question has been noted. Thank you for your participation. They'll be responded to shortly. We have Mr. Aniche also raising his hand. Please send an unmute notification to him so that we can hear him as well. Over to you, Mr. Aniche. Just check your screen. You will see a notification there. Please accept it and speak. Okay, Mr. Paul is here with us. Thank you for your feedback. Mr. Aniche. Okay, while we are waiting for you to accept the notification, I don't know if the Ministry of Environment, Abia State, is willing to say one thing or the other. Yes, we have somebody there from the Ministry of Environment, Abia State. Over to you. You're welcome to the Stakeholders Engagement Meeting.
Hello.
Hello, madam. You're welcome.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Are you hearing me?
Yes, loud and clear. Good afternoon.
Okay. Well, I listened to the consultant detailed us on how far they have gone on the projects.
Okay.
Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear, madam. Please go ahead.
All right. That is an enormous development that is coming into Okwa West. Though by the time we came there, the structures were already up. which means that somehow they have started one thing or the other without even the EIA on ground. So, but we have to be honest to ourselves. Battery business is not too good for the environment, especially when it will not be. Hello? Are you hearing me? Hello?
Madam, please go ahead. We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Battery, as we all know, we have to be honest to ourselves. It's not too good for the environment, especially when they are no longer in use and they are just disposed like that. The negative impact it does to the environment is enormous. Despite that, we still have need for batteries for our cars and other things that makes use of batteries. So exposing the environment to lead and strong corrosive acids found in batteries can cause burns and dangers to our eyes and skin. So while the consultants were, drilling us on what they have done so far, I didn't hear them talk on the occupational health, what they have put in place, considering that workers will be directly involved with acids, carcinogenic properties. They didn't tell us what they have put in place on that aspect of occupational health, because the workers will be highly exposed to danger. So I didn't hear them mention anything on what they have put in ground in respect to their workers' welfare, health, and all the rest of it. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate your participation, and your question will also be attended to. We have noted it. Is there any other person here who would like to say something or ask a question? Questions, contributions? You can raise your hand so that we send you an unmute notification. I'm checking the participants list now to see if anyone is raising his hand. Okay, Uzwamaka. Okay, we have, wow. Okay, I have quite a number of hands here. Okay, I've sent an unmute notification. So if you see it on your screen, please accept and speak. Okay, we have the controller FME here. Madam Lizzie, good afternoon, you're welcome.
Good afternoon. Yes, I've listened at the presentation and what has been put on one. But at the course of the presentation, the river was being mentioned. Please, can you put me through? I don't hear the name of the river where they collected the water sample that was for the analysis. The time you people met with the villagers, because we mentioned that 3 villages were involved, Sumo, Gogo, Muigwe, and Domo, Acheka. Were they met, did you meet them differently or they were collectively brought together? Then you now meet them at the same place. Did you get what I said? The 3 villages that you people engaged before now, did you meet them separately or you people met them together? Then
Okay.
The water sample was taken for analysis. Thank you.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you for your active participation. We also have, okay, we have Uzwamaka raising her hand. I've sent an unmute notification to you. Please accept and speak.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Yes. Good day, everybody. My name remains Uzwamaka from Ministry of Trade. Last meeting, that's the Stakeholders Engagement Program held on 19th August 2021. They are the new way company facility of East.
Okay, please go ahead.
So you told us that the meeting was not in a hurry to reach the states through Ministry of Trade and Investment. The essence of welcoming investors of all kinds into Abia State is to ensure that such investment impacts positively to the citizens of the state. So I heard when you people made mention of the borehole, that one is very, very commending. Then what are you people doing concerning the job opportunities? The community, the host community, they complained seriously last meeting that none of the indigenous was employed in new way. And you people, you have taken off. The company is working. So secondly, the company have other obligations like paying the Abia State tax and other levies, like coming to Abia State Ministry of Trade and Investment and then do the proper registration of investors. I think I sent something through your mail. So let me stop here for now because we are registering all foreign direct investors and indigenous investors. So the company should make haste and come to the ministry and then get themselves registered as foreign direct investors. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for your question. All has been noted and will be attended to shortly. Before we bring in the host communities, because they are here as well with us, and they are trying to get connected to their audio while we are waiting for them. I've sent an unmute notification to Mr. Boyega Olorunfemi. He has something to say. Over to you, please.
Okay, good afternoon and well done. This is just to add to what I said earlier. And this just, I don't know whether this question is important at this time. I'd just like to ask, well, what is the sustainability profile of the company that is establishing? Are they also going to be factoring in the circular economy into their production pattern? Will they also be committing to the extended producer responsibility? Now that they're coming into town and then knowing that people within the city also have batteries being currently in use, will they be looking at reward for returns for used batteries within the metropolis? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boyega, right there for that question once again. It has been noted as well. Okay, Mr. Jackson or Mr. Mike, I don't know if you can hear me. Please say something from your end. Yes, we can see you, but you need to talk. We need to hear from the host communities. We need to hear from the host communities. I can see a name here that says the community people. I don't know. Maybe it's from you. I've sent an unmute notification to that name. So if it is from you, also I've sent notification to Mr. Jackson. Just check your screen, accept the notification, and let's hear from you. Okay. Okay, one of the major reasons why we have this event is for us to get feedback from the community about the project and also hear from the proponents itself and also hear from the proponents. Okay, yes, you are welcome. Good to hear from you finally.
Yes, please unmute the community link.
Okay. The community, what did you call it?
The community panel, just unmute that one, unmute that link.
Okay, okay. Technical team, please check while I'm checking as well. Just check.
Is it on?
Yeah, I think it's on. The community people, it's on.
It's on?
Yes, it's on.
Please, we lost network. Just wait. Let's regain it. We lost the connection.
And they can speak from your mic. They can actually use your mic, please.
Okay, you're all
we appreciate you for your patience. We are really battling with network here.
Yeah, we can feel it from here.
So
No
the
problem.
community, I think we will just use this. We will just use this as the for the community and for the company too.
There's no problem. Please go ahead and speak.
Take a seat.
Okay.
Say something.
Okay.
You can say.
Okay. Where am I speaking of now?
Okay, just speak, we can hear you. Everybody is here. The ministry representatives are here. Richflood is here. Ukeme is here. Everyone is here.
Okay. Thank you very much. The community reps, both male and female, all of us, we have been here for the past 1 hour. But the internet has not been friendly with us. So I don't know, where do we start? Where do we start? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, now, yes, we would just like you to say something about the impact of the project on you. You have listened to the presentation and you have also listened to representatives from the ministry, those who came around last month for for a meeting with you. They said the project has started to an extent, and we just want to hear what has been the impact of the project on you. And is there any issue? Is there anything you would like, the government to be aware of? Just tell us something about the project. Are you happy about the project, or what do you have to say about the project?
Okay,
what
thank you very much.
For you so
Thank you very much. Yes, I've heard it very well. Yes, the community generally is happy about the project. I mustn't fail to say that. But what we are saying is that the negative impact of the company and the project, how are we going to mitigate it? That's the issue now. Now, if that one is clear, and what is going to be the benefit of this project to the direct stakeholders, that is the community members who owns that land where this project is situated, and that's the issue. So if we can be able to be cleared on the mitigation of the negative impact of the project and how the community members project, local content. There's nothing that the community or the stakeholders can lay hand on and say, this is the benefit, individual or communal, and social responsibilities from the company to the community. So these are what we are trying to see how you people can help us. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Chief Sam, we can hear you.
Okay, so that's exactly what we are saying. A lot of us, we are up to more than 12 here, and I'm speaking the mind of everybody here. The mitigation of the negative impact of the project and how beneficial it will be to the community members. For now, if another person has something to say, I think people are here to make their contributions. That's exactly what we're saying. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Can we hear from one female? Since you said you are from another community, since you said you are up to 12, we can hear from a female too.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, the Umacheke community, can we hear from them? Let's just have about 2 more people. Our time is fast spent already, and we have questions to still address.
Yes, from Umacheke community, yes.
Yes, good. Umacheke community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for holding on and your patience so far. and patience with the community. So I will quickly address the questions that were asked during the course of the presentation. So the first question here was asked about the runoff in terms of the effluents as a result of the projects. How would it be managed? And most especially if you have listened to my presentation, especially in terms of the acid waste, I talked about the effluent will be channeled into waste treatment facility, and also it will be neutralized using sodium hydroxide to neutralize the acid. And before it will even be discharged into the environment. So the waste, the effluent will not be discharged into the environment directly into the surface water body. It will be channeled into the waste treatment plants, and the acid waste, most especially, will be neutralized. And another person dropped a question. Chinam so asked about the gaseous emission. How would it be mitigated? Also, like I said, the gaseous emission from the process, the production process, will be channeled into a hood like a pipe, and channel from there to now go into a purifier. A purifier is like a water spray that will dust the dust, the gaseous dust that is emitted from the process to a very minimal level before it will be emitted to the hood. So all this has been, it's like a process, like a closed cycle. It has been probably designed such that it will not be emitted to the environment to pollute the atmosphere and the environment. And in terms of someone asked about the community. Let me get the question directly. He asked about how the communities were consulted. The community were consulted. We actually went to the communities, and also we actually met with the stakeholders within the community, the chief, the hierarchy of the leadership, the women. If you look at some of the pictures that were flashed on the slide, it will actually depict how the segments of the community were captured. So we actually met with them, and they expressed their views and so the challenges they are facing in the community so far, which we ensured and also intimated the project proponent to try to see how to address some of the immediate needs, and some of address like the borehole that we actually complained about in one of the communities was addressed. And there are actually 3 communities that are within the project area, major communities that are within the project area. So which include Umagugu, Umaigwe, and Umacheke. So these communities were actually adequately consulted while at the project site for the studies. And in terms of the occupational health that was asked, this is an ongoing study, and the report is currently undergoing drafting. And the EMP, the environmental management plan that we developed for this project, will ensure that this is adequately captured, and ensuring that in terms of occupational health and will actually be addressed there. And as part of what we address there, we ensure that strict enforcement to the use of personal protective equipment, and also trying to manage the waste in terms of the solid, the liquid, and the gaseous waste will be properly managed. So the EMP will take care of this, which will ensure that the project proponent harness that. So for the registration by the trade and investment, the proponent has heard, and they will do the needful in that regard. So the name of the river that was asked, where samples was carried out, was the river Uzozo. So that's the name of the river that cuts across that surrounds the project area. That was where the water sampling was carried out. So I will now hand over to the moderators to continue with the events and see how we can wrap up because we're out of time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we'll just we'll allow the community just for the last time before we wrap up, with the hope that they would have resolved their network issues. So community, can we hear you?
Can you please help us to answer this question? Are you telling us that this battery production here project has no hazardous effect on the community members?
Can you repeat that, please?
The question I asked, Are you assuring community members here present that this battery project has no hazardous effect on the members of this community?
Okay, let me just answer that quickly because of our time.
Yes.
It's important to state at this point that every development comes at a cost. However, the main essence of environmental impact assessment is to analyze the likely and possible impact that will emanate from the activities of the project, and also profile mitigation measures to manage those impacts, so that at the end of the day, we'll have it to as low as reasonably practicable. There is a matrix for that, such that if properly managed, there will be no cause for alarm at all. Because apart from this EIA, is not going to end there. There is going to be periodic monitoring. There's going to be periodic monitoring to ensure that every impact is well managed. I hope that answers your questions. True consultation. Okay, can we have a female? I think somebody was about saying something the other time before your network got disrupted. From which community again? Umacheke community. Okay, can we have a representative from Umacheke community? Or a female? Let's just have somebody else say something before we wrap up. Okay, yeah, while we wait for the person to come up, this EIA is a process. There are several stages. There and like the project manager mentioned earlier, we are still at the drafting stage of the first draft of the EIA report. It has not even undergone the technical review by experts from the Ministry of Environment and all of that yet. So we have just concluded data gathering, and drafting of the report is currently ongoing. So if there are comments or additions that you have to what has been presented here today, you can send it to info@richflood.com so that it can be captured. This is one of the reasons why we have the stakeholders engagement, so that we can hear from people from diverse professions related to this project, and also be able to develop a robust environmental management plan to mitigate any impacts that we are likely to get from the activities of this project. That is the essence of this EIA, and that is the essence of this meeting. So it is still work in progress. Ideas are welcome, inputs are welcome, comments are welcome, so that we can add it to what is being prepared right now before it goes for review, and then every comment will be incorporated in the report. Can we have the female now, please, so that we close after that? Anybody from Umacheke? I can see a lot of people in the hall there. Let somebody else just talk, even if there is no female that is willing to say anything. Anybody can just talk, please. Okay, I'm getting some comment here as well. Yes, exactly. From from one Abisama Udofia, Ministry of Environment. Yes, thank you for your comment. Yes, I just answered that now. Yes, that's the essence of the EIA, and the EIA is still ongoing. So if there are comments, you can send to us, inputs, contributions, send to us, and it will be rest assured that it will be incorporated in the EIA report. And at the end of the day, we'll have a robust environmental management plan that would guide the project implementation aright. Okay, so since we do not have any other person and our time is fast spent, honestly, I can see about a couple of hands being raised again, but our time is fast spent. We are going to be having another edition of this meeting on the 28th of October. So if we are unable to take your contribution right now, you can send it to, please, okay, let me just drop it. Let me drop it on the chat box. You can send us email, info@richflood.com. info@richflood.com. Send to us your comment, your contribution. We are unable to take now. Send to us, send to us. Okay. Chiza, Mr. Jackson. Okay, I should unmute Chiza. Okay. I've sent an unmute notification to Chiza. That's the last person I'm going to take, please. Our time is fast spent. Chiza, please check your screen and accept so that we can hear you. Good evening, madam.
My name is Ogechi from Omacheke.
Yeah.
Omacheke village. Thank you. I just want to say that I am very happy for the company. They are much happier. I want to say thank you for everything that you people have been doing.
Okay, thank you, madam, for that brief statement. Thank you. Is there anybody else there, Mr. Jackson, that wants to speak? All right. Then thank you once again for your patience, for staying with us up to this present moment. We appreciate you. And like I said earlier, if you're unable to take your contribution or your comments, the EIA is ongoing. I repeat, the EIA is ongoing. So if you have projects, you have impact that you have identified or whatever it is, send it to info@richflood.com. We will receive it and we will treat it accordingly. We need input, we need contribution to make the environmental management plan a robust one so that the impact of this project can be reduced to as low as reasonably practicable. So right about now, I would like to draw the curtain for today's stakeholders engagement meeting by appreciating everyone, the representative of the host communities. Even though we couldn't hear you well, we could see you though. We saw that you turn out in large numbers, and we appreciate you. We appreciate you a lot. And the representative from Umogogo, Umuigwe, and Umacheke, thank you so much for coming up. Until next month, we are going to have another meeting. Right now, I don't know if the COO is still on the list. COO, are you still here with us, please? Okay, I think he had to go for another meeting as well. Okay, so we appreciate you for taking out time to be a part of this meeting. And this online meeting is the first one we are having for this particular project. And we are happy that everyone is here with us. Even the regulators are here with us, the controller from the Federal Ministry of Environment, the State Ministry of Environment, even other representatives from the Federal Ministry of Environment, and all the NGOs, individuals, interested parties that are here present. Appreciate you, and we look forward to having you again on the 28th of October 2021 for another episode of this event. We believe by then the community would have better reception and we'll be able to hear from them well. But if at all we are not able to hear from them, we would make arrangements to get their comments ahead of today so that the moderator will just read it out in case we cannot hear them. It's quite unfortunate. I don't know. Okay, I can see the proponents also here. I don't know if they would like to say something. Group photographs, and we need to have a your video was off before now, please turn on your video. Turn on your video. Let's see you. Let's see you. Okay, we have Mr. Chuku here. Send a notification to everyone, technical team, please. Send notification to everyone to start their video so that we can see them and start taking the shots right now. Start taking the shots. Mr. Wale Omoyeni, thank you very much for joining us. Mr. Eric Daniel, Madam Eze Lillian, thank you so much for your participation. Fumi Juliet, thank you very much. Amechi, thanks a lot for joining us. Okay, Madam Obi Maduka, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, we have some people here. Thank you. Wow, we have a lot of beautiful ladies in this meeting and some men too. Thank you so much, everyone. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for your participation. We thank you very much, and we hope to see you again another time. Community, we can see you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We hope to see you again another time. Thank you. So from here, I would say have a wonderful evening. Thank you. Thank you.